Prvá zastávka.
Ja neviem, prečo som poslala. Vôbec akože nechám.
Jaká normálne, že NASA. Všetky pripája. Funguje.
Máme. No, na to bola aktívnejšie, ako to, čo napísali Morning Club.
Aby bol Giorgio.
Good morning.
Francúzsko je. Litva je. Videla teraz nevidím Rodiku, poďte na R.
Rodika už
Je tam.
Rodika, OK. Giorgio.
Jedno je.
Hello. Hello everybody.
No dobre, family, to máš na ten
Someone unknown.
Co, není?
Není. Jsi to nachystal.
Okay, so we'll start in like 5 minutes, so we'll wait for the last people to join.
Okay.
Že sa volám Nora, že?
To sú profilky.
Video.
Zwei.
Stále mi sa volám Nora tam. Aj nejak. A furt ti neposlali to hovorí stresom.
Všetko odchádza. Nechápem.
Vy ste vždycka nemáte link. Do tých aktivít vstúpiť, že? MS Team sa asi ešte prihlásil. Aby ste im mohli
Ja potrebujem ty na mobil.
Čo máš?
Wi-Fi. Ja to mám na telefóne.
Ja pošlem Tomáša Vyhovsa.
Zdravíše.
Link na ten meeting. A budete kričať, že sa posielať pupils.
OK.
To je pek.
Oni tam boli aj minule, hej. To nie sú na chodbe proste.
No, to má chrom. A tam dáš chrom.
Ja viem, asi nemajú tak veľa miesta, alebo čo.
Má taká patrania, vieš?
Chvíľku.
Giorgio tu ešte není.
No.
Ja si to otvorím na telefón.
A bude tu možno?
Tam ešte.
Tak musí. To bez neho není on.
Máš? Veď otvoriť tak občaním tomu, no. Lebo je to veľké.
Nepozeral som sa na komputer.
To je hezké.
Tam Wi-Fi tu nejde.
Je to.
Tu je tvoj.
Načítava sa mi Gmail. Mne sa nechce načítať Gmail.
Mne tá Wi-Fi nejde na telefóne.
Či to? Lebo sa mi podarilo načítať.
Okay, hello, good morning everybody. Welcome to second day of Erasmus Mobility. I hope that you are looking forward to the lectures and to all of our activities. First, we will tell you more about our program so you will know what to do. So girls, can you please share the program?
Okay, hello everybody. So today, first activity, we are gonna have a lecture and a discussion after it, so you can ask questions. Then we're gonna show you a video of our capital, Bratislava. Then we're gonna have a break, and then we're gonna tell you about some important historical figures. After that, there will be a multi-dictionary activity, so you'll understand words in the following activity, which is coronation route across Bratislava.
So let's start with the first activity. On today's program, the first thing we will do is the lecture by Mr. Kukarik from Slovak National Museum. He will tell you more about history, and he'll tell you more about Maria Theresa and her influence on Slovakia. So please, Mr. Kukarik, the floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you to be a part of your program. If you will not understand anything, or if will be there any technical problem, please stop me and tell me. And so, can you see my screen, the presentation, all of you? Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so let's start. So we will speak about the Maria Theresia and a little bit about about her times. So what are we going to talk about? The Maria Theresia, but today she would have a birthday. It's the exact day today. So what, this is a very wide topic. She's very interesting as a person. It's a very interesting period in Kingdom of Hungary as well as in Europe, the Baroque culture. And so there are many topics, but what are we going to talk about is what she's famous for the most. She was the head of Habsburg monarchy. Then we are going to talk about her reforms and innovations. Then about her family. She's also famous having 16 children. Imagine children, students, that you have 15 brothers or sisters. So she had 16 children, so a huge family. And then at the end, we are going to speak a little bit about Bratislava. So at first, the first topic. So she was the leader of a huge Central European monarchy. She was a queen, but as well, she was crowned, for example, in Kingdom of Hungary, she was crowned as a king. Her full name was Maria Teresa Walburga Amalia Christina, and she was born today, the 13th of May, 1717. You can see the map, two maps on the screen. The first larger map is the Habsburg monarchy during Maria Theresia times. So you can see that it was a quite huge Central European empire, which consists nowadays countries like Slovakia, parts of Romania, the Hungary, the parts of Croatia, parts of Austria, parts of Czech Republic. But she also has a husband, Francis from Lorraine. So she also had some territories later in nowadays France. And also we have a Habsburg line in Spain. For example, her father was a Spanish king for a short time. So I read that you students are from Spain, France, Italy, etc. So we can see many connections to Maria Theresia period and to her empire in 18th century, also to nowadays. So her full title, as we can see, was very long because she was a sovereign of Austria, Hungary, Croatia, etc. And how you can see, maybe in future, if you will be historians and you will read some or old statements, etc., usually each title, original documents, started with the full titulation. Kings or queens, on their portraits, we can see the crowns of each kingdom which were dedicated to them. So symbols of each territory she was ruled over. Here, for example, we can see the crown of Kingdom of Hungary, as we can see there on this picture, which as a king. It's an interesting point. And behind we can see also museum or somewhere in gallery in your country. For her hobbies, she really liked to dance. She was
To bolo na našej strane. Connections are not available.
To je tá lepšia možnosť aspoň oni čujú.
They're very educated, mainly in dancing, painting, and these things. But later, Maria Theresia
Tak na škole je jedna.
Ale oni ho počujú všetci ostatní, iba my nie.
Ukáž si. No a ja
Fajme.
na ďalšiu
A prečo najsme?
educated also in many things like history, international things, etc. And she was also very good at languages. Now you are taking your Erasmus project, and it was very typical in 18th century and in 19th century that the students also were traveling through the countries. It was like model in 18th or 19th century. And Maria Theresia, she was very good at Latin language, which was official language in Kingdom of Hungary, but she was also very good German speaking because she was a part of Habsburg family, but she was also speaking very well Spanish. When she was young, she spent a short time in Spain, and she was also very good at French as well. And what is interesting, one of her interesting hobbies is chocolate. Chocolate was very popular in Europe in 18th century, and Maria Theresia really loved it. And we can read in all the documents about her very often that her favorite meal was a chocolate soup. Maybe you can try it at home. So this is about her hobbies, but she's also very famous for many reforms and innovations in her countries. As you are students, so maybe the most important for you would be a reform called Ratio Educationis, which was a school reform in Kingdom of Hungary. For example, she started with a new school system in Kingdom of Hungary from elementary schools until the high schools. During Maria Theresia in Kingdom of Hungary, we have only one university, which was located in Trnava. It's a Slovak city, 30 minutes from Bratislava, and this was the only one university town in Kingdom of Hungary in that times. Later, during Maria Theresia era, this Trnava University was moved to Budin, which is nowadays Budapest in Hungary. But she started with this new school system, and what was one of the most important things was that the education was in mother language. As we see at the beginning, the map of a Europe, of how many nowadays countries the Habsburg monarchy was consisted. So you can see that it was a big mixture of people who were speaking Slovak, Hungarian, German, etc. So this was a very important point, that the school system at elementary schools started in mother language. Also in Bratislava or in nowadays Slovakia started to be published workbooks and books in old, we can say, Slovak or Slovak language. Also, it was you have to also visit it. You also have to visit the schools since you were a child. Then also this ratio educationis was also about the school rules, like we know from the nowadays. For example, as you were a student, a member of a school, you couldn't go out after 8 o'clock, for example, like nowadays during the winter times. Or also there were the school rules, like you have in your school, you have to behave good and these things. So also this was concluded in her reform. But also she's famous for many other reforms. This is a period of Enlightenment thinking in Europe in 18th century, which was coming from France, and she also took many inspirations in reform, which were in, for example, in nowadays Britain, France, and etc. So she also started with the reforms in economy system, also about the healthcare. For example, she started with the vaccination, which is also now a very actual topic due to COVID-19, the coronavirus. So she also started with the vaccination program, and she vaccinated her all children. Also, she started with a reformation in army. Or a very important thing was the roads, because her empire was quite large, and if you want to communicate and to control the territory, you need to have a good roads. Like in old Roman era times, it was also very important why the Romans were famous for the roads. So also Maria Theresia started with the roads constructions or reconstructions of older roads. For example, this is a typical coach. One of the coaches of Maria Theresia, which is now exhibited in Vienna's museum in Vienna, and just imagine the road from Bratislava to Vienna, which was her official seat. It's around 65 kilometers. Took around 5-6 hours by the coach like this. And also in economy, she started to print the banknotes. It's for the first time, the first banknotes in the world we have in China. For a long time, we have only coins in Central Europe or in Europe. But in Kingdom of Hungary as well, in her territories, she started with the banknotes. As we can see, you can compare the Maria Theresia banknotes with nowadays euro banknotes. So these are about her reforms and innovations. So we can say that she was very well attached in economy, in school system, roads, jurisdiction, healthcare system, etc. So now we can speak a little bit about her family. Here we can see her mother, Elizabeth Christine. She was very similar to her, if we are looking at the portraits. And this is her father, Charles VI. Is a Charles VI, and it's a Holy Roman Emperor, or is a Charles III in Kingdom of Hungary. For a short time, he was also a king of Spain, so the Spanish king. So here we can see again the crowns of his territory. For example, here we can see a Holy Roman Emperor crown, which was a Holy Roman Empire, nowadays mainly parts of nowadays Germany. Over here we can see again the Hungarian crown. This is a portrait from our collections, museum collections, of her father, mother, and this is little Maria Christina. She was the oldest daughter of the family. They had Elizabeth, Christine, and Charles. They had 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son. But a son, he died at a very young age as a baby. So this is a Maria Theresia husband, Francis the First. He was the Duke of Lorraine, so also parts of nowadays France. They are famous for a very good relationship. They really loved each other, and when the Francis died first as a Maria Theresia, then after his death, Maria Theresia was a very sad person. She was wearing only black clothes, etc. So their relationship is very, very close, and they are also quite famous for this nice relationship. But sometimes it's more about the Roman stories, but we can say it was like that a little bit. So they are also famous for that they had 16 children. So as I said at the beginning, imagine that you have 15 brothers or sisters. It's like a little school class, 16 children. So the oldest was Maria Elizabeth, and 3 of her children died at a very young age. And what is interesting about the daughters, that each name of each daughter started with the name Maria, like Maria Theresia. So we have Maria Elizabeth, Maria Anna, Maria Caroline, etc., etc. She had 11 daughters. They had 11 daughters and 5 sons. The son Joseph II was the oldest one. We can see him on this. This is Joseph II, the oldest son. He was after Maria Theresia. He became a king. And after his death, because he didn't have a son, so after Joseph II, a new king was Leopold II, as we can see on this side. What was very typical for all monarchs in 18th century were dogs. It was very popular to have dogs at home, also in these royal families. Also, please pay attention about the clothing, very, very rich dresses, which are very rich decors and decorations. This is an interesting portrait, which is more familiar from Maria Theresia family. This is from Vienna's collections, from Kunsthistorisches Museum in Vienna, in Austria. And this is the celebrating of Saint Nicolaus. In Central Europe, we have a tradition that Saint Nicolaus on the 5th or 6th of December is bringing us gifts. So this is mainly some candies and these things. So this is very familiar portrait from that times. Here we can see Maria Theresia, her husband, and their children. Sorry. What is interesting that Maria Christina. This is Maria Christina, the small one with a doll. So she had a doll during this event. And what is interesting that the Joseph II, he was maybe not a good at behavior. He is getting the ashes from the Saint Nicolaus. This is also an interesting piece of art from our collections, from our museum. What was a typical during the times where different altars and these things. Maria Theresia, she was a very Christian person. Also her husband, but Maria Theresia very well. And one of her patrons was the Hail Mary. So this is an altar this was a gift of one cluster of monks to Maria Theresia family. So we can see that the Hail Mary is taking a protection under her dress of Maria Theresia family. Here we can see Maria Theresia and her daughters, and Francis with the sons. So we said that Maria Theresia had 16 children, but maybe the most famous for you are these three of them. So the Joseph II, later he was the ruler of the monarchy. Then the second oldest one is Leopold II. After the death of Joseph, he was a ruler, but Leopold II, he was also Granducato di Toscana, so he also spent his life in Florence, in Firenze. So I know that we have here some Italian students, so there are the connections. For example, also Lombardia, the northern parts of nowadays Italy, were part of Maria Theresia Empire. So also, and Leopold, he was very popular in Florence in that times. Also, after the death of Joseph II, he had to move to Vienna because he became a new king of the whole empire. And in his writings, we can read that he was very sad when he was leaving the Florence and the Tuscany. Really, he writes that I really fell in love with Tuscany and I wanted to spend the time here. He had to move to Vienna. And also very famous is her daughter Maria Antonia, or Marie Antoinette, in France. She was a French queen as a wife of French king, and during these times started a famous revolution in France. You French students for sure know these times, the Bastille and Égalité, Fraternité, and this motto. And also Maria Antonia or Marie Antoinette was beheaded as during this revolution as her husband, the king. Maria Theresia, of course, she had many supporters and many colleagues to educate her children. Of course, because imagine that you are a mother, you have 16 children, but you are also a ruler of a huge empire. So you have to select your time for the official things, for the family, for the children, etc. So of course, Maria Theresia needed a lot of supporters and a lot of people to take care about her children. But Maria Theresia, she brought a daily program to her children. For example, this is a daily program of her oldest son, Joseph II. You can see that it was quite difficult to have a program for each day like this. This is in Slovak, sorry, but I will translate a little bit. So Joseph II, when he was just 10 years old, he was waking up at 6:45. Then was a morning praying. Then was the breakfast at 7:45, and after the breakfast started Latin language, the Latin lessons. After he had a 15 minutes break, and he continued since 10 o'clock with the history or with literature. Then he had a writing, and after the lunch and conversations were until the 14 or until the 2 o'clock. After, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, he had the geography. After geography, he had a religion. The religion was very important in the times. On Wednesdays and Fridays and on Saturday, he had a math, and after he had again a break, but a break at 5:30. After the break, again the breaks. Then he had a music or dancing 2 times per week, and since 7:30 he had a dinner. After at 9 o'clock at the evening, he was going to sleep. So you can compare this program of Joseph II when he was 10 years old, and you can compare it with your program when you are going to school and then you are doing your homeworks and hobbies, etc. But Joseph II, he was educated as a future king, so he had to be very good at languages, political system, history, geography, as well as math, religion, and all these things which the program was about. So, as I said, that Maria Theresia had a very close relationship with her husband, Francis. Francis died in 1765, so Maria Theresia, for 15 years, she was a widow. And during this era, Maria Theresia cut her hair. Before she had a very long hair, and after the death of Francis, she was wearing just a short hair, and she was wearing only black dresses. So all her portraits after 1765 are with black dresses. So if you are in a museum or in a gallery or somewhere and you will see Maria Theresia in black dresses, you know that it's after 1765. Also her apartments. For example, this is a picture from Schönbrunn, which is close to Bratislava in Austria. Also, her apartments, the walls were painted with a black color. It was a symbol of sadness she was taking after the death of husband. So, as we were talking about at the beginning, that the Habsburg Empire and Maria Theresia Empire was a very huge Central European empire. So, as well, Maria Theresia had many, and not only Maria Theresia, but Habsburgs had many residences mainly in Central European part. The official seat of Habsburgs was Vienna, now the capital of Austria. This was the official seat, but they had other 3 major residences in Europe because Habsburgs were also Czech kings. So their official seat was also a Prague castle. But Maria Theresia didn't visit very often Prague. For example, her grandfather visited Prague very often, but Maria Theresia stayed mainly in Vienna. For example, in Budin, which is nowadays Budapest, or Innsbruck, it was very also popular residency for Habsburg. Maria Theresia also very loved Schönbrunn, which is between Vienna and Bratislava. Schönbrunn is somewhere here. And also her husband started with a reconstruction of a new residency in Holič, which is in the west part of Slovakia, region called Záhorie. But they had also other residences like Luxembourg and etc. So many of them. But we can keep in our memory that the main residences was, of course, Vienna, and then Prague and Bratislava. So just see a few pictures. This is her official residency in Vienna. I really recommend you to visit. She had 2 residences. This was the Meyer one. It's called as a Hofburg. Hofburg in German means we can translate it a little bit like Meyer seat, Hofburg. The Burg means a castle, and Hof means a higher castle or something like that. So this is a Hofburg, and her very popular summer residency was a Schönbrunn, which we can see on this picture. So these are her two residences in Vienna: Hofburg, mainly for winter times, and Schönbrunn for her summer times. Then was a Prague castle, which also I really recommend you to visit. I recommend you to visit all of them. So this is a Prague castle, but as I said, Maria Theresia didn't visit it very often. This is St. Vitus Cathedral at the Prague castle, which was also a coronation temple, coronation church for kingdom for Czech kingdom. Then was a Budapest, or the Budin. In the past, we have two cities. During Maria Theresia times, we have two cities: Budin on the one bank of the Danube and Pest on the another bank of Danube. In 19th century, these two cities, Budin, Buda, and Pest, were connected in one city and became a huge Budapest, as we know nowadays. And Maria Theresia started also with a reconstruction of Budin Castle in nowadays Budapest. So it was her another residency, but she also didn't visit very often, because Budapest is much. It's a longer distance from Vienna, or also Prague is in longer distance from Vienna. So it's the reason why also she spent the time in Bratislava, because Bratislava is very close to Vienna, so it was easy to get to Bratislava. Then it was Innsbruck in west parts of Austria. This is a Schlosshof. It was very popular for Maria Theresia during the summer. It's famous for huge gardens, and sometimes it's called as Austrian Versailles, because of course we have only one Versailles in France near the Paris, but this was called also as a Austrian Versailles because of the huge gardens. Then it was Holic mansion, Holic, Chateau de Holic, as in the west part of Slovakia. But we are going to speak a little bit about Bratislava and about her residency in Bratislava. So Bratislava was one of the many cities of Maria Theresia territory or Maria Theresia Empire. As we said, that the Habsburg monarchy was a connection of many kingdoms and other territories. For example, here we can see the Czech kingdom, but the largest one was the Yellow Kingdom, which was a kingdom of Hungary. It was connected to Habsburg monarchy. And in that times, during Maria Theresia, the capital city of Kingdom of Hungary was Bratislava. I will repeat it a little bit. Of course, the capital city of the huge empire was Vienna. But each kingdom which was connected to empire had own capital city. Like Czech kingdom had Prague, other, and Kingdom of Hungary, the capital was Bratislava. So Bratislava was the largest city of this yellow part of the monarchy. Yeah, here we can see the print of Bratislava since Maria Theresia times. This is from the 70s of 18th century, and her official residency in Kingdom of Hungary. So Maria Theresia's official residency in this yellow part of kingdom or of empire was Bratislava Castle. And Bratislava, and this is the seat when I am now talking to you from. This is now the seat of Slovak National Museum, the Museum of History. but during Maria Theresia times, this was her official residency as a king of Hungary or king or ruler of Kingdom of Hungary. So she started with a huge reconstruction of Bratislava Castle in a new Baroque style. Here you can see the interior. These are the representative halls of Maria Theresia. They are situated on the first floor of the palace. On this floor, we can see the representative rooms of Maria Theresia, which are fully decorated with a gold decoration. This is so-called as a mirror hall. The mirrors are here because to make effect of a larger room. Or this is her conference cabinet. Here we can see the portraits. This is a portrait of Maria Theresia as a Hungarian king or Hungarian queen, but she was crowned as a king. This is her husband, and there are their children. So this is a conference hall, or this is a hall or cabinet, so-called cabinet of Chinese porcelain. It was very popular in 18th century. So these are the representative rooms of Maria Theresia in Bratislava Castle, and behind them, behind the doors, of course, she had other private rooms. What was one of the largest changes in Bratislava Castle during Maria Theresia times was to build a huge representative staircase. This is an older plan of Bratislava Castle from the Middle Ages, and for example, they also cut the huge wall, the Middle Ages wall, to make a place to build this huge Baroque staircase. What is interesting about this Baroque staircase is that this is the largest Baroque interior staircase in Central Europe. It was a very new thing in our territory, and it was like a representative entrance to the residency. Also, Maria Theresia built, or during her times, they built here a new Baroque garden, which had a special water pipe system. The castle hill is 85 meters above the Danube River, and local inventor called Kempelen, he constructed a special water pipe system, so the water from the Danube was pushing up through the pipes to Bratislava Castle and to Bratislava Castle gardens. This was also very new invention. Before this water pipe system, they had only the water from the wells or from the rain, but since Maria Theresia, the castle had also this special water pipe system. Bratislava is also famous for being a coronation city of Habsburgs in Kingdom of Hungary, and also Maria Theresia had a coronation in Bratislava. This is a St. Martin's Cathedral, which was a coronation church. What is interesting about the church, that on the top of the tower is not a cross, but on the top is a copy of Hungarian crown as a symbol that the church was a coronation church. And we have also a portrait which shows us the scenes from the coronation of Maria Theresia in Bratislava. So this is a coronation act in Bratislava in St. Martin's Cathedral. This is the archbishop who is putting a holy crown on the head of Maria Theresia. She's on her knees during this act. Then the coronation ceremony was going through the city. This is a main square in Bratislava. This is a Bratislava town hall, and it was there was another act during the coronations that the headmaster of the town hall was greeting Maria Theresia on the square, and term music the tabor music was playing music around the city. You can see that the city is very full of people during the coronation, and also, for example, what was typical in Bratislava, that the people who owned the flats, the apartments in the houses in the streets, were selling tickets for the windows to see the ceremony act. This is very also interesting. It's like in Siena, who Italians are, where is a Palio, a big holiday in Siena. Also, you can buy a ticket for a special window. You are looking at the piazza on the square in Siena. You can also buy a ticket for a window. So also in Bratislava, you could buy a ticket for a special place to see the coronation act and coronation ceremony. Then here is Maria Theresia ceremony. She's going behind the city. Here we can see a Bratislava castle, the city walls, the towers of all the churches, and as you can see, the ceremony is very full of people and huge. The Maria Theresia was the only one. She was not going on the horse during the ceremony, but she was in a coach. And also Bratislava is famous for that the castle was also home of Maria Christina and her husband Albert. This is Maria Christina, one of the daughters of Maria Theresia, and her husband Albert. Albert, he was something like you can say prime minister in Kingdom of Hungary. It means that when Maria Theresia was in Vienna, the leader of the Kingdom of Hungary was this Albert with Maria Christina, who lived in Bratislava Castle. Also, Maria Theresia started with a construction of a new royal palace, which was connected to Bratislava Castle, and this palace was a home of this Maria Christina and Albert, and also for Maria. There were also private rooms for Maria Theresia, but sadly this palace was damaged by a huge fire later. Bratislava also became the largest city of Kingdom of Hungary. So the population was growing up very fastly during Maria Theresia. At the beginning of her regime, Bratislava had only 10,000 inhabitants. Only 10,000 people lived in Bratislava, plus minus. At the end, after 40 years, at the end of Maria Theresia, Bratislava lived almost 35,000 people. So Bratislava, it's still not enough for empire, but in Kingdom of Hungary, it was the largest city. So Bratislava became 3 times larger during Maria Theresia era. Bratislava was also a seat for many nobles, many royal families, many Hungarian royal families who wanted to be very close to Vienna, to the official residence of Maria Theresia. So they started with a construction of many Baroque palaces, and Bratislava very changed in the times. This is just a piece of them. In Bratislava, you can see more than 30 Baroque palaces, or Baroque or neo-Renaissance, etc. palaces in the streets. Bratislava also was famous for many inventors and many. It was also a center for science in Kingdom of Hungary. Again, I'm saying for the Kingdom of Hungary, not for the full empire. So, for example, here lived Johann Wolfgang Kempelen, who is famous for a chess machine or a special speaking machine, or Johann Andreas Segner, who is an inventor of so-called Segner wheel, which was a construction of like nowadays turbine. This is this. Do we have a time for 5 minutes?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So this is the reconstruction of a speaking machine. This is 1 minute video. So I will show you. This is the 18th century. This is the nowadays reconstruction, but from the plans from 18th century of temple and speaking machines. So pay attention. Can you hear it? Yeah.
No.
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 Here.
You can hear it. So.
The microphone.
Huh. And now?
Now, yes. No.
Can you hear it or no?
No, we can't.
Oh, so sorry. Maybe after the presentation I will try it, but so this was a special, sorry, this was a special construction of bag and pipes which were doing words. Or also Samuel Micovini, he was a geographer and he started with a new map collections of Kingdom of Hungary. For his map, he established a new meridian which was crossing the tower of Bratislava Castle. So it's now for the maps we are using a meridian in London, the Greenwich one, which was very famous, which is famous and is official meridian for the maps in the world since 19th century. But in 18th century, it was typical that each kingdoms have a special meridians for their maps. Like, for example, we have a Paris meridian, we have a meridian in Vienna, we have meridian in Kolin in Germany, and also we have a meridian in Kingdom of Hungary, which was going through the tower of Bratislava Castle. So this is just a show of the maps of Samuel Micovini. And also many artists lived in Bratislava. One of the most famous is Franz Xaver Messerschmidt, who is famous for the busts, the heads of emotions. So this he made a collection of more than 50 heads like this. Now they are mainly in Vienna's museum, in Vienna's gallery, but some of them we have also in Bratislava. And these are the busts of emotions like sadness, happiness, old man, or etc. This is a retained laughing. Yeah. So this is a boost of you want to laugh but you can't. Yeah. So this is also interesting piece of art from Bratislava. So Maria Theresia died on the 29th of November in 1780. She is buried in Capuciner crypts in Vienna, and this is a huge Baroque tomb of Maria Theresia. It's open to the public. You can visit it. This is a very simple looking church, but inside there are the crypts of Habsburgs. On the tomb of Maria Theresia, on the top is Maria Theresia with her husband Francis, as you can see the Baroque structure of it. So we can end it. So make just the conclusion. So Maria Theresia is famous for, as she was the head of a Habsburg monarchy. She was not the first woman who was the leader of Kingdom of Monarchy, but she was the only one female from Habsburg monarchy, from the Habsburg family, who was a leader in the Kingdom of Hungary. She started with many reforms and innovations, the school system, economy, roads, etc. Also, she's famous for having a big family with 16 children, and also a real Baroque culture started, of course, we have a baroque culture here earlier, but during Maria Theresia, it was a typical period of enlightenment. So the new thinking, which was coming mainly from France, the reformations and all these things started also in the Central Europe. This is a signature of Maria Theresia from one of the many documents we have in archives, and that's enough from me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much for this interesting lecture. Well, I hope that you've learned some interesting facts about Maria Theresa. Now, I would like you to start the discussion, so it's time for your questions. So, would you like to ask something? Mr. Kukarik, do you have some questions? Because I'm sure that you will be happy to answer them.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
How many reforms did she do?
Sorry, how many?
Reforms did she do?
I don't know the exact number, but it's more than tens. It's like you start with a reform that, for example, with Adam František Kolar, she started, we are going to reform the school system. So this school reform consists of many changes. Yeah, so I don't know the exact number, but it's easier to speak about the parts she was taking in the reforms, but it's in the numbers, it's tens, or we can say more than hundreds, of course. She was a ruler for 40 years. So imagine that, for example, we have elections in Slovakia for every 4 years. So imagine that she was like 10 times the winner of the elections. So she had a lot of time to make these changes.
If I may ask, what was the reason she was so interested in making reforms and changes?
We have to think about the period of 18th century. It was not only Maria Theresia, of course, with the reforms and innovations started her father also, Charles the third, and continued also her sons. It was the reason was that we have a new thinking in 18th century. It's a period of enlightenment, the encyclopedic thinking also in France, and so these innovations, and she was also very well educated in international terms, and the kingdom, and mainly the kingdom of Hungary in that times was it was in very old mood, we can say. Also the school system, the economy, everything was quite old. So if you want to make a prosperity, you have to take the innovations. It's like now also many countries, post-communist countries like Slovakia or the surroundings, we are also taking the innovations from the Western Europe, but not also Western Europe is learning also from the Eastern Europe. Yes, so this is important also about your Erasmus program, that you are knowing you know the educational system or some new things from the other countries. You can choose what is good, what could be good for your country, and this is a system, we can say. And it was also in 18th century, she was just a part of this system. Hope that I understand. I answered you. Good.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So, do you have
You're
any
welcome.
other questions? About Maria Theresa or something from the history?
It's totally unnecessary to ask. It's not important information, but how did her husband die?
Her husband? Now I'm not sure. if it was during the hunting, but now I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Maria Theresia died. She had a very hard cold, and she was 63 years old. But her husband, I'm not sure if it was during the hunting. But sorry, I'm not sure. Or she was injured. So, sorry. Huh?
Okay,
In
okay.
fact, so sorry, my colleague is helping me. He had a heart attack. Sorry, heart attack.
Okay.
Sorry, so it was a heart attack.
Okay, thank you so much. We enjoyed your presentation. Now we will move on to another activity.
Okay, so I think that I'm leaving. I thank you very much for the attention and cross fingers for your program. I really like to see how young students are speaking together from the different countries. This is very well. This is perfect for all of you. So thank you also to be a part of this.
We
Bye.
should thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Okay, now the lecture of Mr. Kucharik is all about the history. So now I would like you to move to present and enjoy the video about our capital city, Bratislava, today. So I'm going to share the screen and you can watch the video. Okay, can you see the video?
Yes.
Yes, okay, we will try the sound. Is the sound all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's watch and enjoy.
Schöne Nase.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. You could see the Bratislava castle in its present appearance. You could see the contrast between the old town and the new town. You could see some most famous places like the UFO restaurant located above one of the bridges crossing the Danube River. You could see it from the perspective of a normal tourist in streets as well, whether the new streets or the old streets with the original old buildings. And you could see a president palace as well, and the statue of, it's called Man at Work, climbing up from a canal.
Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed the video, and now we will have short 30 minutes break. So let's meet here at quarter past 11 or 11:15 Slovakia time. Okay, so 30 minutes break.
Bye for now.
Goodbye for now.
Slovakia.
Je dobré. Epic pedažník.
Viete, že ste mali prestávku,
Mali sme tuším zatvorené. Teraz sme mali zatvorené.
keď tam keď je niekto prejsť, vieš.
Pani profesorka má vypnúť mikrofón.
Teraz
Hello.
Keď chci prezentovať, tak sa ja budem posledný.
Prečo som mal zapnúť tú kameru, keď si spieva?
What activities do you bring your music lessons?
Normálne mám taký ten second hand placement.
Podľa mňa ona na tom ani nemá. Pridala sa tam na tom prípade. Určite ťa
Ježiš, ak my máme zapiť.
nevadí.
Nevadí. Všetko je v dobrom poradenku.
Alexandra je že Malacky trade here.
Ale ty sa tam oplýva.
Rozmýšľam, či to ten teraz prišiel na hlasy.
Ešte nie, lebo oni potom na to zaplo.
Alexandra.
Máš rozpošleš potom tými...
Áno.
V tom onom, keď to potom pošleš. Ja si to napíšem. Ešte to mení.
Tak určite.
Ja vám to rozpošlem. Ježiš, tak by som hodil.
Prečo dávajú kamery do...
Dobre, prosím, začneme. Keď budete rozprávať len v angličtine a veci.
Vysvetlíš mi, čo robíte?
Neviem.
Tento jeden sa tu oblieva vodou.
Okay, hello. Are you back from your break? Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Perfect. Now we will move on to some interactive activities. I will send you the link into our chat and I will explain what is your task and what you have to do. So this is the link for Jamboard. It's in your chat, so please copy it and open.
Už je to poslané do našej skupiny.
Okay, I'm also sharing my screen with you. So can you see that? Can you see the screen I'm sharing?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. So as you can see, all right, I see that Romania has already started, but wait for the instructions. You are really fast. Okay, so our first activity is about historical figures. So we have two people. The first one is Maria Theresa, and your task is to search the internet for some interesting facts about the monarch. The second one will be Francis I of Lorraine, and you will do the same about him. So let's start with Maria Theresa. The way how you can write your facts is that you will do the double click on your country. So, for example, I can do the double click on Slovakia and I can write the interesting fact here. If you want to write more facts, you can do that as well by clicking here. Okay, so you can write more facts here. If you want to have fun with this, feel free to have fun because I can see that you are trying all of our different features. Alright, That's probably Romania. Yes.
Jadina.
So, don't forget that you also have to write the interesting fact about the monarch. Alright? So just do the double click on your country and then search the internet and write your interesting fact here. Then we will talk about your facts.
And if you delete your note accidentally, or I don't know, you can add one on the left side. There is like a bar, and you can, add one. So you can write there.
Slovakia, are you writing something?
Nemáme internet. A nemám
Tak daj reason a vzalo daj si čiarku.
Okay, do you understand what you have to do? Not only drawing, but you have to do the double click on your country. Okay? And then write your fact there.
Ježiš.
Okay.
Come on, people. That's disrespectful.
Ups, nechceš robiť.
Ja už toto mám.
Ja tam akurát tak vidím.
Ja si musím dať nabíjať.
Pridali dve smiechy.
Jediná Litva.
Nebo máš to v triede, tak nemám.
Slovakia píšem to?
Ja už som to napísal, len to niekto premiestnil. Asi.
Ja sa to...
Ja to tam vidím.
A ja to tam vidím.
A ja to tam vidím.
To pôjde.
Je to presne pod našim menom, alebo teda...
A ja to vidím, áno.
Hey, ale... Come on, really? Is that necessary? It's not. And it's not funny.
Kudík.
To robí niekto z vás.
Nerobí.
A ma nemáš
No ešte Francisa správne, Tomáš.
Ja nebudem všetko robiť za všetkých.
Toto idem urobiť.
Seka, tak
Ale neviem, jak to mám.
napíše, že sa narodil onej.
Ja som musel naložiť.
Francis. Oni ešte robia to prvé. Modrý. Červomodrý.
Upraviť. Nájdete niečo o Francisovi.
Bol narodený v Nancy.
You have to also
Francúzsku.
Google some facts about Francis.
Ale niečo zajímavé.
Just one fact is enough. Find out.
Spravili všetci.
I can see that there is 44 of you here trying to
Nikto nečakal. Litvánia očakáva.
Že bol interested in City of Holich.
Iba jeden to spravil. Zatiaľ.
Okay, so I can see the interesting fact from France that she has 16 children.
And we can also see Lithuania.
And yes, we can see
Languages.
also Lithuania, that she spoke 4 languages, Latin, German, Spanish, and French. Okay, this is also very nice. From Romania, that she ruled
Napíšeme ho veľa mileniek.
from years 1740 to
Mistress je, Lenka, neviem, jak sa to píše.
Lovers.
Čo?
Okay, so I can see that you are trying
Píšeš to druhé tam?
to find and write.
Ja som to tam napísala, len nechcem sa to načítať.
Romanian.
To vidím.
Dobre, Francisovi som dal ešte jedno.
Okay, and I can see also a
Yeah,
lot
those
of
are
facts
long,
from
yeah.
Spain.
Čo nie treba
Copyright.
And someone's salted.
Tomáš, ja to vidím, to Slovensko. Ale si niečo preniesú.
Okay, and facts from Slovakia that she married her husband from love, not for the political reasons. Okay, so I can see that every country has written some interesting facts. That's amazing. So I can see that you're really good at finding the information. Okay, and the next one, the one of our first challenges was a war with King Frederick II of Russia. Okay, if you want to add more facts, you can click here and you can write it here. Not the arrow, but under the arrow.
Môžeš sa to presúvať. Koľko práchu tu je, ty kokos.
Myši bez rešpektu.
Si kúpiť?
Buried.
Taký je.
Oh, okay, all right. So I can see that you found out a lot of facts about them. Now let's move on to the second historical figure, who is Francis I of Lorraine. So now try to search the internet for some interesting facts about this monarch. I can see that some countries has already found the information.
Pač to presúvajú. Co?
Okay.
Hrobka číslo 55. Ježiš. Toto. Paráda. Akože...
Interesting facts from Slovakia that they had lots of lovers and mistresses. Lithuania, Francis was born in Malacky, Lorraine. Romania has paraded show number 55 in the
Sus Adam.
Vienna.
Nebuď sus.
Ty máš Asus.
Ale ty si sus.
Suspicious. Toto furt presúva. Magori čistý.
Mohli to presunúť do Talianska?
Ja to presúvam na Slovensko.
Taký admin. Máte admin.
Čo?
Niekto to včo dal v Litve.
A my, že nemáme nič.
No, super.
Mali sme sa podpísať. Že Slovakia. Sa nechci.
Ja práci nerobte.
Nenadávaj, Adam. Či on je Albert. Či jak sa voláš.
Okay, so I think that all of you already found out something about these two important historical figures. I can see that some countries were looking for very nice and detailed information. So thank you for that. And also, the most important thing is that you have fun doing this interactive activity. Now, we will continue with another interactive activity. I will send you the link into our chat. This will be like our multilingual dictionary. So wait a second, I will share my link. Okay, you can click on this link and there is the multilingual dictionary.
Máš, pošleš to? OK. Ja skúsim. Niektoré spravím ja. Spreadsheets.
Okay, so your task is to find the translations for these English terms, like monarch, queen, empress, monarchy, and to translate it into your own language. So you should translate it into Italian, Spanish, Romanian, French, and Slovak.
Mne tam nejde písať.
Ani mne na telefón.
Tak Tomáš to napíše, tuším.
Môžem ti diktovať, Tomáš, keď nebudeš vedieť?
To nejde na telefón.
Sword image.
Sword match, heal, kopec. Alebo
Carry, či je kočár. Alebo, no, kočár.
loyalty, vernosť. Imparaté jasa.
Ako?
Procession.
Proces. Počkaj, procession.
Pozriem.
Facility.
Taká slávnosť asi, ne?
No, asi áno.
Slávnosť, slova.
Orb and cross.
Processions, sprievod.
Ale to procession je sprievod, alebo proces.
Sprievod, rád.
Tak daj, že sprievod. Alebo proces je to isté.
A to facility?
Slávnosť, jak som povedal.
To je slávnosť, no.
Okay, we can see that you have already wrote a lot of words, which is good.
Empress je císarovna kráľovna.
To je tak bola a ten kríž, ne? Tak sa to bolo, kebyže až korunovačná nejaká iná krajina. Asi podľa mňa.
Scepter je žezlo. Scepter. Scepter.
To je všetko. Crown. Throne.
Like Patrick Blanik.
Arma, no. Ten Dior and cross je kríž.
Korunovačné klenoty. Napíš
Orb je guľa. Ríšske jablko. Ríšske jablko.
Vladárske nejaké one. Alebo guľa a kríž. Korunovačné klenoty sa to dá.
Coronation jewels.
Dobre, tak nie sú to klenoty, ale sú to proste symbol vlády.
Ne,
Symbol monarchu.
Daj tam proste jablko, oni dali to isté slovo na 4 slova po sebe. Ty kokos, však ale to...
Korona.
Ako si španielský, už tak nepoviem.
Španielom im toto ide.
Okay, I can see the Italian translations, maybe some of them. Lithuanian, French, and Slovak. So that's amazing.
To poď nižšie to máš teda.
Potom ja to nevidím.
Ja aj
Skôrka
neviem.
pôjdete aj vy nižšie, prosím vás, lebo my to nevidíme.
Tomáš, si to dobrý. Canvas, čakám.
Potatoes daj zemáky.
Manufacture je výroba, nie?
Agriculture je poľnohospodárstvo.
Už niekto tam jedno vymazal.
Vážne. Prečo tam niekto vymazal slovo, poviem, že mám preložiť.
Agriculture je poľnohospodárstvo.
Čo kurňa robíte? Akože, I'm sorry, akože sa
You can't edit English words.
to nebude
Write
platno.
only your translation. Because we
Pizza.
can see who
Tabak.
deleted the words, alright?
Čo? Plátno. Clover? Plátno asi, nie?
Dobre.
Alebo proste nejaká látka.
Clover to je štvorlistok.
Ďatelina. Šemrok je synonymum.
Niekto zmehol to len slovo, no. Super.
Canvas je plátno.
Áno.
Can't see many translations from Spanish, so please interact, or if you're having problems, please tell us. If you don't understand something.
Urbarium.
No niž. Order. To je poriadok.
Poriadok.
Toto je noný Berkov. Order.
50 je žrebčín.
Order.
Čo je 34?
Neviem, čo je to po anglicky.
Urbarium.
Môže byť taký hrozný, že toto národné.
To Španielsko celé práve.
Urbárium.
My sme nemali príčin. Akože, ja viem, čo je urban legend.
Áno.
Áno. Horse je kôň. Horse je kôň?
A tí Španieli nič nerobia?
A animal breeding môžeš dať ako cvičenie. No to tam, oni tam niečo pridali. Áno. Mi pridalo slova.
Normálne si...
Because this is a useful dictionary for you to understand the next presentation and what it will be about. Because
Krop je plodina.
Jaké slova mám? 26 je maolici.
Territorial lord bude zeman asi.
Nie, to tu bolo. Ja to mám. Ja to mám celé bez zmien, Pavla.
Tomáš, krop je plodina.
Tak maolika a agrikultúra bola pod tým.
Mining, bože.
Čo? Takže nie.
No.
Dobre, to máš takto.
Baníctvo.
Ktoré slova tam chýbajú, pani profesor? Mining, minovanie. Ktoré čísla? V angličtine. V angličtine.
Territorial lord.
Pani profesorka v angličtine. Nie preklad, ale ktoré vymazali. A 51 dopísali, 26. 25 je fabrik a 26 je maolika.
Ja si normálne...
Mazávali?
Tak sprosté.
51 tam pridali.
Páne Španieli tam.
26 je tá maolika?
Áno.
Hey, can you hear us?
Agrikultúra je od... Ježiš, teraz sa máš posunúť to jedlo všetko.
okay, but we can't see any translations from Spain.
Oh. Okay, we see
Okay,
something
so
now.
we can see the first
Tomáš,
one.
soil je pôda. Hej.
Territorial lord bude asi zeman.
Zemepán.
Tak zemepán.
36 je zemepán. To my nerobili. To my. Ne, že oni sa s tom strašne hádzajú, že všetko prehádzajú.
To mi je jasné, že si to
A vypisujú.
36 je zemka?
Áno. 36, no a tu 10 jednotlivých máš. Tých Amerikánov.
Skelettiano.
Prečo ste ma potrebovali?
Čo je to afforestation?
Aforestácia.
Zalesňovanie asi, nie?
Nemám ten posledný test z občianky. Do prčice. Čo si tam riešila? Na zajtra. Čo to bude? A čo to bude?
Zalesnenie.
Ja. Volíča.
Ťaží drevo, ťažba dreva.
Bude odhlásiť zedu. Áno?
Rezané drevo.
Kadastre.
Asi kataster, ne?
Zadastre.
Kataster.
To je sranda, idem môžem ďalej koronu.
Kniha pozemkov. Pozemková kniha.
Landed property. Landed property.
Hneď.
Vlastníctvo vody.
Pozemkový majetok.
To máš to posunúť všetko jedno. No lebo oni tam vyvezali tú majoliku a ty si tam dal agrikultúru na majoliku, poľnohospodárstvo máš tam bordel. Dobre to má. Máš tam bordel trochu, niečo to má?
A agrikultúra je poľnohospodárstvo. Čiže agrikultúru dať preč.
Prečo to tam vôbec je?
Čo je majolika?
Maolika je. To bude nejaké...
Má tam vôbec tá malika byť?
Má byť.
Hej, to by to malo byť.
Makráš na niekoho, kto... To je jedna vec, ktorá nevymazali.
Ale inak, kto ešte píše tú slovenčinu?
Ja nič, biobotu. Kto to robí? Samo to robí, či?
Čo?
Tie slova.
No samo.
Tak kto? Od nás.
Ja som ich nenapísal všetky.
Aj ty píšeš, že? Do toho? No.
No, všetko sa pýtame.
Tak.
Jak to bolo?
Maolika. Toto podľa mňa tiež bude Maolika. Majolika.
Ja tu mám všetko 10 mien, hej, takže ako, neviem z jakého dôvodu, ale ja to vidím všetko. Čo to je?
My som tu mala niekde
Fine with colored decoration on an opaque white tin glaze originating in Italy during the Renaissance.
A lot of you are doing a great job. But we will wait until you finish.
Keramika, alebo niečo také. Ja, čo to tam bolo? Som český výrobky. Tomáš Free Forest, máš želest. Ty si nevedla. Ty máš Amerikánu. Tam. Vasal nemôže byť vazal?
Ešte raz, čo?
Vasal nemôže byť vazal?
Jak sa to píše? Vassal?
Áno.
To je vazal.
Vazal.
Tak treba zmeniť sa na Z.
Závislý, podriadený, vazalský. Poddaný, sluha, otrok, vazal.
Tých Amerikánov preložili.
Amerikánsky.
Ja nemám tu mama. Španiel, musím počkať.
Ale tak máme všetky preložené.
A
videla som, hej.
V tom Španielsku chýba veľa slov.
Už to bratý, že chodí, když sa padnú z ťa objednáku. Chodne? Nie. To je z nejakej divnej stránky, neviem, či to umám ver.
Litve a Francúzsku jedno.
A došlo ti.
Nie, však chvíľa.
Však ja som to videl. Však teraz idem.
Zrušené.
Nie, ale potom stratí tú stránku. Ja povedem, jak sa volá.
Ani to dovolám dokonalo.
Áno, to som.
Jednou rukou asi.
Jedno slovo Španělsko a jedno slovo Francouzsko.
Zajtra na takisto počať tým.
Okay, so I can see that most of you have already finished. We'll just wait for the Spanish team to add their words which are also involved in the dictionary.
Warum lachst du dann? Fünf.
Okay, I can see that we've already finished, so well done. Thank you, it was hard work because there are like 50 words to translate. Now we can tell you just a few words on how do we translate them. So I will ask some of our students to tell us some translations for our chosen words. So how do we translate monarch?
Monarcha.
Monarcha, queen,
Kráľovná.
empress,
Cisárovna.
and monarchy.
Monarchia.
Okay, so you can see that even if you look at the dictionary, like the English, Italian, Spanish, Lithuanian, French translations, there are a lot of similarities in our languages. But these words were all connected with the history, and you will need to understand them to understand the next presentation. This presentation will be about the coronation in Bratislava, and one of our students will be presenting you this. So I will share our screen so we can Okay, can you see the coronation in Bratislava?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Perfect. So get ready for this. I hope that you will enjoy because our students worked really hard on this.
So, coronation in Bratislava. After the occupation of Buda by the Turks, the royal offices moved to Bratislava, and in 1536, Bratislava became the capital and coronation city of Hungary. Maximilian II was the first to be crowned here. It was followed by another 18 coronations, including the coronation of Maria Theresa on June 25th in the year 1741. In the coronation church, the Cathedral of St. Martin, 11 kings and 8 royal wives were crowned. They were all from the Habsburg dynasty. The last who under the statue of St. Martin's received the Saint Stephen's royal crown was Ferdinand V on the September 28th in the year 1830. On the map, you can see the coronation route starting at the Bratislava Castle and also finishing in Bratislava Castle. So, Bratislava Castle. The ceremonial procession set out from Bratislava Castle at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can see the Bratislava castle here on the picture and also on the map. Coronation garments. Driven in a horse-drawn carriage, Maria Theresa was clad in opulent, pearl-embroidered Austria-Hungarian dress. You can see those dress on her on the picture, and also you can see on the picture the Saint Stephen's royal crown and other coronation jewels. The first step of the route was Vidrica Gate. She entered the city through this gate. It was built in the 14th century and it was pulled down in year 1777, so you can't visit it now because it's not anymore. The other step of the route was the St. Martin's Cathedral. The Empress carried on until she reached the St. Martin's Cathedral. Bratislav's largest church was the venue of the coronation mass. Maria Theresa was sitting on the throne, placed on an elevated stage in front of the main altar. She received the crown from the hands of the Archbishop of Esztergom and the Palatine of Hungary. The act was followed by songs being sung, cannons fired, and church bells rung. You can see the interior of the cathedral here on the picture, and also you can see the cathedral on the map. On the other picture, you can see the cathedral from outside. The other step was the main square. After the coronation, Maria Theresa set out on her coronation journey through the streets of Bratislava. Onlookers tightly squeezed to get the best glimpse applaud the Empress. The ceremonial procession through Bratislava stopped in the main square in front of the town hall. Maria Theresa bowed down before the statue of her patron Saint Virgin Mary, whose construction was commissioned by her grandfather Leopold. Hlavné náměstí, or the main square, is one of the best known squares in Bratislava, Slovakia. It is located in the old town and it is often considered to be the center of the city. Some of the main landmarks found in the square are Old Town Hall and the Roland Fountain. On the picture you can see the main square and you can also see it on the map. The other stop was the Franciscan Church. The Franciscan Church is the oldest church in Bratislava. It is the place where Maria Theresa sat down on the throne from which she appointed 45 Hungarian noblemen to the Order of the Golden Spur. The Franciscan Church is the oldest existing religious building in the old town of Bratislava. The church was consecrated in the year 1297 in the presence of King Andrew III of Hungary. In the past, the church building served for larger gatherings of townspeople or Hungarian nobles. Here you can see on the picture the Franciscan Church. The other step was the Michael's Gate. From the Franciscan Church, Maria Theresa carried on through St. Michael's Gate to the present-day Slovak National Habsburg Square. I think, or in my opinion, the Michael's Gate is one of the best-looking places in Bratislava. Michael's Gate is the only city gate that has been preserved on the medieval fortifications and ranks among the oldest town buildings. Built about the year 13,000, its present shape is the result of Baroque reconstructions in 1758, when the statue of Saint Michael and the dragon was placed on its top. One of the last steps was the SNP Square. In those times, it was an open space with a stage placed in front of the Church of Verifical Brothers, where the monarch took the coronation oath. You can on this picture you can see the SNP Square nowadays. Slovak National Offspring Square is a square in the center of Bratislava, Slovakia. During the 20th century, it has served as the focal point for national demonstrations of independence and sovereignty. Ludovic Stur Square. The coronation journey ends at the Danube embankment at the current square of Ludovic Stur. It used to be called Coronation Hill in the past, as during the coronation, a small coronation hill was made up there. Maria Theresa stood atop the hill, waved her sword in 4 directions of the compass, and swore to protect her lands from all harm. You can see her on the picture. She has a sword in her hand, and this is one of the most popular paintings of her coronation. And the last thing was the feast. Having finished all the ceremonies at around noon, Maria Theresa returned to the Bratislava castle, where the coronation feast took place. The monarch was accompanied by her sister Maria Anna and her husband Francis Stephen on her left and her aunt Magdalena on the right. The feast also continued in the streets of the city, where oxen were roasted on stakes and the fountains were full of wine. So this was the coronation of the Maria Theresa in the
Okay, thank you, Tomáš. It was really pretty. It was really interesting. You've gone through the entire route and learned a bit about the clothing and even the feast. So I think it could be really interesting for you because not a lot of times people talk about this.
Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed the presentation of coronation in Bratislava. It was done in a very interactive way. I think that I can share this link with you. You can go through the route once again, and then we will discuss. So I'm going to share the link with you. It will be and I'll post it into our chat. Okay, it should be there.
Yes.
Yes, well done. So you have to click on Bratislava. You have to click on Bratislava. And then you can explore the route once again by your own. The first stop is Bratislava Castle. You can see the route, you can look at the map, explore the pictures. You can have fun with this.
Bless you, I guess.
If you ever come to Bratislava, I would definitely recommend visiting these places because they're really interesting. The history behind them is really interesting. So, yeah.
Okay, so if you ever come to Bratislava or if you ever get a chance to visit our capital city, you should for sure visit Malacky. It's very popular. It's very nice. Also, the square of Slovak National Uprising. The School Square. Okay, so I hope that you have enjoyed today's presentations, that you've learned something more about Maria Theresa and also about the history of coronation in Bratislava and about the city as well. We will continue with the program also tomorrow. So tomorrow we will meet at the same time and there will be another interactive activity and lectures according to our program. So today, tomorrow, we will meet at the same time as today. Do you have any questions you would like to ask before we finish? Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed today and we will see you tomorrow. Alright, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Goodbye.
Slovensko kývame. Oni čo, nepočúvajú, keď sa ešte nakúpili?
Ne, nepočúval.
Nej, to preč už.
Keď sa u nás povedal, že koniec hodiny, tak to všetci do minúty, ne?
Goodbye, see you tomorrow.
Zakývajme.
Good.
Bye.
Bye.
Teď se odpojte. You can cut yourself off.
Leave it. Rodika.
Zbierajú.
No, ideš ako rodíka.
A oni už idú domov asi.
A ešte keď my ideme domov, ne?
No, tak my sme do 14:30 ospravedlňovali.
Pani profesorka. Taká otočka.
To zavřeme, tak oni všetci odídu.
No, vy vlastne vyhodíte, tuším, možno keď vypijete ono.
Nech to vyhodí.
Pani profesorka, taká otočka na vás. Vy ste teraz domov, hej?
Áno, lebo my sme do 14:30 ospravedlnení.
Musím odprosť. A ja tu ani nemám veci, nám nikto nepovedal do toho.
Ani ja tu nemám veci.
Ja to zložím. Alebo nemám.